Like me, you're a French so when you play, let that shit like time go. Put this bag, hundreds of demons, they're always there. I pull the strings, push the rope on there in the depths of dread, the truth to be shared.
From the heart of Lovecraft country and the birthplace of American religious liberty, my name is Shanthan Jetty. You're watching Shanthan Jetty Art, and I hope all of you are having a wonderful Sunday. My goodness, I'm just hanging out watching trains on the beautiful HD trains, making some artwork, and enjoying the craziness of my studio space, which I'm sure you guys can see right there. My wife found, it had been kicking around the studio, but my signed Kevin Eastman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cover #1 painting that I've had for a couple of years, and she just set it up there by the window, and it felt right, man. It felt good. It felt good to have that. Let's see what we've got here in the chat. We've got some great people here. Timmy Mello. There's a Swamp Thing sighting. Yes, indeed. And it's good to see you, brother. How have you been, man? It's great to see you. Channel member Rockstar. We got A. Riley in it. That's right. That's right. And I believe goes by Alfonso, if I'm not mistaken. We've got another channel member, Jeremy Burt, saying, hey to Cursed Art Creations. Shane got me on the off on the wrong foot on that one, so I'm going to... I read it that way too, though. I can't have Shane take all the blame on that. But it is great to have you in here, and have a wonderful day if you're on your way. Infamous, speaking of Cursed, Infamous Mr. Cursed is here. I tip my non-existent cap to you. It is great to see you, my friend. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you for being a channel member. You are appreciated. Let me see who else we've got in here. Let's see who we've got in here. Hi, Shanth, can't stay. Have a beautiful day. You have a beautiful day too, Cursed Art Creations. Let me see. Who else am I missing? Bear Knight is in here. What's up, Bear Knight? How are you doing, my friend? By the way, I should say, Cursed Heart, I love that Celtic not work. That's a beautiful, one of my favorite symbols actually. Is it's quite gorgeous. And Bear Knight, it's great to see the Lizard King in the house, man. You know how it goes. Hey, chat. Hey, everybody. Happy icy Sunday. Yeah, it's cold out there, isn't it? Amoral Fat 40 ounce. How are you doing, guys? What's up? Caleb Reynolds, channel member. It is great to have you here. I was just updating the channel member credit, so it was great to see. Let me make sure I got everybody. I think I've got most everybody except for Michelle Bowers, of course, channel member. It is great to see you. And channel member Nathan Strayer, it's great to see you. Hail, Shanth, and chat. Hail to you, my friend. Oh my God, I have no idea. Okay, so here's the thing. I am not looking at anything Stranger Things. What's up, Odin Daska? How are you doing, man? Long time no see. How are you, Odin? I love seeing that picture of you working at the desk. That's what I imagined you were doing. So here's the thing. We've been watching Stranger Things for however long it's been on. So, as a family, we get together and watch it. So, when my son comes home for, it's going to be the first time we saw him since he went off to the airport to go to school, but when he comes home from college, we're going to watch it as a family because they've been watching that since they were little. And you know, now that my kids, it's hard to imagine, but I saw this joke and I'm going to steal it. I don't care. When they started watching that show, they were in middle school, and now they're in their 70s. I thought that was the funniest thing I've ever read in my entire life. But I'm very excited to watch it with them, and so we'll see. We'll see where it goes. I mean, it's got a lot of crazy influences in it. Hail, brother Shanth and chat. Hail to you, Mark's Music Obsession. Man, have I got some crazy thing. The new season is pretty good, says Michelle Bowers. I'm going to hold you to it. Okay, no spoilers. I don't really stress about it, but I won't know what any of it means. So, you know, it's you know, we'll see where it goes. I'm just excited to get in that family time watching it with them for the first time and all that kind of stuff. And it's just it's a family thing for us. And yeah, it's great. I'm looking forward to it. You know, however it goes, if I'm spending time with my family, then it's a good way to go, man. It makes me happy. So let me see. Oh, so I was going to tell you guys, lots of news. I'm looking at 2 printers for Nosfero. It was kind of 3. But here's the deal. Okay, dude, here's the deal. To quote Robert Downey Jr., I went to reach out to my printer to set things up with my printer I've been using for all of my art books, and they are going out of business. And they are closing down their operations. They're going to be moving stuff over to another place, and they're going to be... It's just, there's a lot of chaos right there because I think after 18 years, and also they're in California, so I'm sure that the lockdowns hurt them and things like that. I don't know the full story, but they're open to doing the book, but I'm not sure because I think that it's a little too unstable of a situation for me to put my stuff into. And so I'm going to be, you know, I'm looking at some options. I reached out to Shane and Yanzi. They were incredibly helpful with some thoughts in addition to doing my own research, looking at a local printer. Be kind of cool to print it here in Lovecraft country, but it's got to make sense financially down the stretch. So that's where we are right now. Went back to read, sorry, my glasses just fell. Went back to read the novelization version of Wolfman Remake from a decade ago. Wow. As an audiobook with the time that's passed, it was definitely different from the original, but I appreciate it. I love that Wolfman. I've got Benicio del Toro's Wolfman figure over there because I think it's a great movie. I love that Anthony Hopkins' Wolfman makeup was kind of a nod to The Curse of the Werewolf by Hammer Films. Lots of cool stuff there. Is my man in here? Cranberry Langers, happy Sunday. It's great to see you. That was a good JRE interview with Robert Downey Jr. You're right. Oh my God. Well, I got it from Jamie Foxx, who does a really amazing Robert Downey Jr. He just clicks into it. He's like, okay, dude, here's the deal. And I just cracks me up, man. That guy. Everybody's saying hello, hello. Cranberry Landers is here. It's great to see you. When one door closes, another opens. Yes, indeed. And it's interesting because, yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of cool stuff going on, and we're going to talk about that. You know, I'll talk about that real briefly before we talk about books and trains, obviously. You know that. Oh my gosh, a super chat from Cranberry Landers, a $10 super chat. Merry Christmas, Shanth. Merry Christmas to you, my brother, from the bottom of my heart. Merry Christmas. Shanth, to you and yours. I will pass that along as soon as they get back from Christmas shopping. And I really appreciate it. And the same to you, Cranberry Landers. Merry Christmas to you and yours. Much, much appreciated, brother. And thank you for the super chat. It will go toward brushes, I promise you. So let me see what else I've got here. Okay, you just totally broke my train of thought, man. I really appreciate that. Oh, so I've had a lot of, man, my cup runneth over. There's been a lot of really great stuff that's been happening, and stuff I wanted to make sure I took a moment to share and express my gratitude for. Speaking of people I am grateful for, yeah, that 2010 Wolfman movie had some good stuff in it. Yes, it did. The real Bosch Boston. It's great to see you, brother. How are you doing, man? Oh, my gosh. That was, what a nice surprise, man. It's great to see you here, brother. And so I was, speaking of comics, see now, I think my tombstone should say, but I digress. Like, that's it. I digress. That's how it works. But of all the comics I'm very excited about, of course, you guys know Pigman is one of my absolute favorites. I had the pleasure of doing a trailer for Pigman. Bosch was cool. He got me all of the high-res artwork I could possibly need. Got to throw a little 2.5D in there. Just a stunning book. And in my mind, Bosch is one of the purest cartoonists, I think, that we have in Comicsgate, and probably one of the purest cartoonists people I've known in animation, people I've known working in special effects. Bosch can both get to the essence of a comic book character, and at the same time, he can get a likeness as well. And to me, that's the tell on whether somebody has their own cartooning style or not, or whether they're looking at another cartoonist. When they draw something that the other cartoonist hasn't drawn before, they're lost. Typically, that's with likenesses. Bosch is the real deal. I mean, he can take his style and he can switch it in any direction, and he has such a firm grasp of it because it is his true drawing method that it brings an excellence to every subject matter, including his stuff that he's done in Springball, which is just breathtaking. All right, let's see what we've got here. We've got Scribe Comics. Hello and welcome. I hope you're doing well. I have to get more comics in 2026. Tree cutting is turning out to be a luxury expense during a recession. Is that right? My goodness. We have some tree work if you're looking for it. We probably do. But I digress. Yep, doing well. Thanks, brother. Hail chat. It is great to see you, my friend. And so yeah, so this morning, and when I say this morning, I mean 4 o'clock because my sleep schedule has been nuts. I woke up and I went to YouTube because I fell asleep listening to some Art Bell on YouTube, and Shane and Ethan and John were streaming, and I went, oh my gosh, like they're still going, and it was crazy, and I thought, but I made myself stay in bed, and then at 7 o'clock I got up out of bed, started doing dishes, started organizing things, and I went, I want to do a Sunday stream, and I want to chat with you guys and hang out. And so after I got up, straightened up a couple of things, put some music on for when my wife wakes up, because I love the stillness and the silence of the morning. Yes, the legendary Art Bell. Talk about somebody with, what is it? How did they describe C.S. Lewis? A port wine plum pudding voice. He has that. He has that sort of port wine voice going for him. And he's just great to listen to. So I got up, and I had recently bought, I typically listen to audiobooks because it's very difficult for me. I'm a slow reader, and that's not really a problem in terms of my enjoyment of reading, books physically as opposed to audiobooks. But for me, my speed doesn't change. If I'm listening to an audiobook or I'm reading a book, I have to read it aloud in my head, or aloud. And it's one of the craziest things because I can walk and chew gum. As you guys know, I can paint and chat at the same time. My wife can go, honey, what are we doing on the 31st of this while I'm painting? And I can answer questions, which I never realized was a strange thing. But I woke up this morning and I started reading. I got out this new copy of Moby Dick that I bought. You can get these on eBay. It's a soft cover. But it's kind of this new sort of thing they're doing. Like, it's a soft cover, leather-bound kind of thing, so it's got softer board in it. And I just woke up, and I was just reading Moby Dick this morning. And I was thinking that, and I'm sure you guys know about this, is that whenever you go online and whenever you wake up in the morning, there's always some some craziness going on, and we were actually just talking to our daughter about this. There's something that kind of takes you out of your present and makes you stop being present. And I found looking at classic literature, classic books, and looking at artwork and things that are tactile has really helped me. And the funny thing about that is if you look at the YouTube videos that I watch, and if you look at a lot of the stuff that I go to, like Townsend's, I was watching the Brownville, what is it called? The Brownville deer feeder, and watching wild turkey, not the drink, get up and sort of peck away on whatever feed was available for them that morning at the, I forget what they call it. They call it the, pantry. Is what they call it, the Brownville something deer pantry or whatever it is, and it's up in Maine somewhere. And I'm watching this, and I just thought, this is such a great way to start the morning. You know, being present, looking around at all of the stuff that you have that's tactile, and it's why making books is so important to me, and why making Nosfero is so important to me. When I'm working on Springball, when I'm thinking about things, it's like, yeah, I could read a digital comic, yeah, I can, listen to the audiobook or read a PDF. But I want to have my copy of Pigman. That's my copy. You know what I mean? I want to have, I want to mail out your copy of Nosfero as soon as possible. But when I'm making my books, it's that tactile quality that you guys appreciate. And I started thinking a lot. I started doing this as a teacher, funny enough, before I started doing it for myself. But I started thinking about the environment that students come into and learn in is very important. When you're watching something like the Harry Potter movies, Hogwarts is a character in a sense. You go in there and you feel like you're going to hear great things. You feel like you want to learn from things. And so I started really working on things like staying after work for hours before driving 90 miles home, painting classrooms, getting good copies of books so that students could come into the classroom. And I said, it's not the library. You can't check these things out. But these books will always be in here. And I just bought a small library of books for my students because I think it's so important to have stuff around you that inspires you and not just a bunch of noise that goes with, the kind of chairs that you have. And it doesn't have to, you don't have to break the bank to do it. You start small and you slowly build. And for me, aren't we all obsessed as Captain Ahab in our interests? 100%. 100%. And hopefully we're not chasing our white whale, but believe it or not, the Lovecraftian lore that is in Springball, by page 2 of Springball, you see white whales, and I tie them into Lovecraftian lore because I actually got my master's degree. I got my master's degree in illustration and fine arts so I could teach college in New Bedford, which is where Moby Dick takes place, where that journey starts. So I've walked those same cobblestone streets as Frederick Douglass and as Herman Melville, and I remember being very conscious of it, very conscious of where I was. It's the same thing as walking a Civil War battlefield, for that matter. Paul Schmidt's guitar, humble brag, humble brag. Which was the humble brag? I'm trying to think of what was it. I don't know which one it was. Moby Dick? Was it the Melville? Let me know what it was, because just for the funny sake of it, because I just it was funny. I don't know why that cracked me up. But New Bedford is a town that was a whaling town, and then they just destroyed the entire waterfront essentially by having a giant highway plow down all these historical buildings because it was just accessible. Oh, the master's degree, Paul Schmitz. It's not a brag. Getting a master's degree is essentially like going to the DMV for 2 years. Holy Lord. Yeah. I can't. One day I will talk about the master's degree stuff. Holy cow. But what's good about it is I'm happy to bring that into this space so that when someone comes around who is a, what's the word, acts about, is a credentialist and acts as if having a master's degree makes you like you're a member of an armigerous, family of New England, then I'm happy to say, yeah, I've got that. You know what I mean? Yep. I did. I gotta say, waste of time, somewhat. Yeah. Waste of money, not so bad, because I actually was fortunate enough to be able to get mine at a state school. After I got mine at the University of Massachusetts in Dartmouth, and it wasn't too expensive. I was able to get some some teaching experience, but I was already teaching. How do I put it? I was already teaching part-time at 3 schools when I got that degree, and I got offered a full-time professorship before I even got my diploma. So I did everything backwards. Do you know what I mean? In the seas and unfortunately on land with colorful hair extensions. That's right. My God, you guys are cracking me up. Test. There you go. I can see you, Cranberry Langers. Yeah, it was a test. You're right. You're absolutely right. Whales everywhere. And what's so funny is that I love New England's architecture. I love the feel of it. I love... In some ways, it reminds me of the South in terms of the rolling hills and the greenery and things like that. I love the fall colors, all that stuff. But, not being somebody who was, a voracious reader because I was so slow at it, what I found is that reading for pleasure, for somebody who has dyslexia, for somebody who has a hard time reading, and it's wonderful when you get to pick what you read when you read. You discover your love of reading. I pick what I want to read and I read it, and it is fantastic. It is it's the way to fall in love with reading. Let's see here. Drag them back to the sea. Crazy, you must be very good. I don't know. Oh, maybe for the painting degree? I don't know. So the thing for me was that I've always been more engaged by nonfiction, like reading scientific papers or things like that on neurobiology and stuff. That stuff fascinates me. Dry stuff fascinates me. But fiction was difficult because I always wanted to paint. I always wanted to visualize it. And Moby Dick has just been fantastic. Fantastic because I love that book. I love the characterization, but I love the descriptors. I mean, it's beautiful. Coca-Cola, early in the day. You can't take the Southern out of the boy. That's the way it is. It's one of those things. Those AI apps that read PDFs audibly really help with reading comprehension. Well, that brings me to another thing. So not long ago, I started writing a novel. It was inspired by the fact that a friend of ours who passed away this past year, when she had first been diagnosed with terminal cancer. And what inspired me to write the novel is I learned that Mel Brooks' son, Max Brooks, who I think Shane Davis met at some point. Yeah, I think it was Shane who met him. He wrote World War Z, but he had dyslexia, and his mother actually went and got his books and his homework stuff. She went to one of those places that translate books into audiobooks for the deaf, so that he never, had to basically fake his reading. And I thought that was just brilliant. Tell me it's not Diet Coca-Cola grilled next to Coca-Cola bottling plant. Oh, so that's right. That's right. Grilled next to a Coca-Cola bottling plant. Memphis. No kidding. My gosh, yeah, it's a Coca-Cola, and I actually would drive past every day on the way to school the Coca-Cola bottling plant in Chattanooga, Tennessee, man. So God bless you in Memphis. I've been out to Memphis. I've had some absolutely astounding barbecue on Beale Street. I took a road trip to Memphis with Brian Konietzko, who is the co-creator of Avatar: The Last Airbender. He grew up in Atlanta. I grew up in Chattanooga, and in the summer, we would go and hang out and draw together. And what was cool is that one day he's like, what do you want to do this weekend? And I was like, why don't we go to Graceland? And so he came up to Chattanooga, and we drove across Tennessee to Memphis, got some barbecue together on Beale Street, and went to Graceland, man. It was awesome. Love that stuff. Yep. Guru up next to, that's right. Oh, I gotcha. Grew up next to, cane sugar is better than corn sucrose. I know it. Also, people with dyslexia are known to be are very intelligent. Well, I don't know. You never know. You never know how it goes. So I woke up this morning, and I couldn't find my teeth. No, I woke up this morning, and I was flipping through because I know the book and I've read the book, and I got to this section called The Chapel. And this may be painful reading, and I apologize, but I just had to share this with you guys because it's amazing how books just stop everything around you. And I remember I was talking to my brother, and I said to my brother, I go, hey, man, by the way, if you ever want to see something painful, watch someone with dyslexia. No kidding, man. Let me say this. and you know this because we don't have to mince words if we're both Tennesseans in that sense. What up, Lord Henson? Good morning. How are you doing? What a surprise getting a stream after church. My pleasure, man. I hope Mass was great for you. Let me see here. Or church was great for you. I always forget what it is for each person. I'm used to saying Mass. Memphis is a lot safer right now with the National Guard. Okay, so when we were leaving Beale Street and we were heading home, people who haven't been to Memphis don't know. I remember looking off the highway to our right, heading back to our hotel. It looked like scenes out of like South Africa, like shanties. It is some of the worst poverty that I've seen in the South, and I've seen a lot of poverty in the South. But what was going on in Memphis was like something out of another world. And I am so glad the National Guard has gotten in there, because you really got the sense if you took a wrong turn, you could find yourself in a really, really tough situation. I remember being really, really shocked by it. What's up, Darth Gutierrez? It's good to see you this morning. I hope you are well. Good morning, good morning. So without further ado, this is someone with dyslexia stalling. Glasses don't fit. Actually, I'll use a little bit of light here. Oh, actually, that won't work, because then you guys are going to see my messy desk. I think I have enough light here. You guys can watch the trains. In this same New Bedford, there stands a whaleman's chapel. And few are the moody fishermen shortly bound for the Indian Ocean or Pacific who fail to make a Sunday visit to the spot. I am sure that I did not. Returning from my first morning stroll, I again sallied out upon the special errand. The sky had changed from clear, sunny cold to driving sleet and mist. Wrapping myself in my shaggy jacket of the cloth called bearskin, that's for you, Bear, I found my way against the stubborn storm. Entering, I found a small, scattered congregation of sailors and sailors' wives and widows. A muffled silence reigned, only broken at times by the shrieks of the storm. Each silent worshipper seemed purposefully sitting apart from the other, as if each silent grief were insular and incommunicable. The chaplain had not yet arrived, and there these silent islands of men and women sat steadfastly eyeing several marble tablets, with black borders masoned into the wall on either side of the pulpit. 3 of them ran something like the following, but I do not pretend to quote. Sacred to the memory of John Talbot, who at the age of 18 was lost overboard near the Isle of Desolation off Patagonia, November 1st, 1836. This tablet is erected to his memory by his sister. Sacred to the memory of Robert Long, Willis Ellery, Nathan Coleman, Walter Canny, Seth Macy, and Samuel Glegg, forming one of the boat's crews of the ship Eliza, who were towed out of sight by a whale on the offshore ground in the Pacific, December 31st, 1899. This marble is here placed by their surviving shipmates. Just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stuff. There's something so beautiful about a scene in a chapel where these sailors come, where he talks about and describes the widows and everyone there. That's really beautiful. Okay, yes, update. I was just talking about this. The printer that I typically use for Nosfero is going out of business. So I'm looking at 2 options right now for printing. I've reached out to the first one is, I reached out to Shane and Yanzi, and they're a printer a lot of people in Comicsgate use. And the second one is one that's here in Rhode Island, and I want to see about using them because I think it could be cool to produce the book here in the heart of Lovecraft country. But what we're going to do is we're going to see John Talbot. Interesting. Yes, I caught that too, Timmy Mello. And I think we have to assume that all of these folks, considering what we were just talking about, and even Bosch was weighing in on for that matter, we have to assume that the people who write these things are write films and write for Hollywood and write for all of these various things, are reading the classics, and that's what makes their stuff good. And so here's the thing that's so funny about it. I would say there was truth in advertising in my book collection. What you would see if you looked at my book collection when I was in college would be a lot of photography books, a lot of comic books. You would see a lot of art books. You would see all of that kind of thing, and I had read all of them. And I never had any interest in buying books that I wasn't going to read just to have a lot of books around me. And I felt as though, having been married to, and my best friend, of course, are one of them is illustrated for fiction, but they're just such amazing readers. They just devour books, and I would say that reading for pleasure and that sort of facility to just disappear, to where the words vanish and you're not hearing them in your head, but they act and telling you something, you're picturing it, is not something that I have, and it's not something I think I'll ever have. I really consider my words when I'm writing and when I'm reading. I have to consider them and think about them and see where they're going to go. And it's a great frustration to me, but I admire that about them. But what I can at least say now is that when I read these books, and even when I listen to an audiobook, I'm just getting something that was missing, and it's all mine. It's not because anyone assigned it to me. It's not a drag to read. It's actually really, really a great experience. And I think there's nothing better than putting your flag in the ground and reading. And I was and saying, I'm reading this book because I want to read this book. That can be comics, that can be literature, that can be a book on how to do something, a book on woodworking, a book on anything you want to read about. And just get stuck in it and say it's yours, and you're setting your own pace and your own direction. And it's amazing how, for me anyway, how much it's made me feel more in touch with and more connected to my country. You know, to read works of literature that come out of the places you're at. You know, for me, it was a lot of Civil War history stuff because I grew up in Tennessee, so that was the stuff I was interested in. I went to school on Missionary Ridge in Chattanooga, Tennessee, which was the site of a famous battle. And the Battle of Chattanooga, which I'm sure you guys know, was a big battle covered by Shelby Foote. He actually said that if you were to put together the 2 days, I think it was the Battle of Chickamauga, that the Battle of Chickamauga, probably one of its days, if you were to isolate it, might have been the bloodiest day in the Civil War. It was such fierce fighting. And so that's what's so crazy. I'm doing well, Brent Mackey. How are you doing? It is great to see you, brother. I am doing very well, man. And happy Sunday. Good morning. Where does the image come from that you put down if you don't see the image in your head? Oh, no. Here's what I meant to say. When I see words, it's hard for me to put a picture in my head because I have the word in my head. That's how visual it is. I even sort of have the typeface that I'm seeing in my head. It's very frustrating. But my head is all pictures normally. So I have to crowd out those pictures and then import words and then turn them into pictures, and that's the difficulty. But when I write, I typically watch the scenes in my head and then write them down. So it's a different way of experiencing things. There's sound, there's color, there's all of that stuff. I saw the Tennessee Civil War battle sites in the Boy Scouts. Wow, that's excellent. That must have been a hell of a trip. We were out here hiking not long ago here in Lovecraft Country, and we ran into a scout troop, and they were embarrassed because it was like taking up the whole trail we were walking on. We were having to dodge all of these kids, and this dad looked at me and he goes, "I'm so sorry." And I said, I looked at him and I said, "Proud Weeblo, 1986," and he had a big smile on his face. And the boys were all like, "Oh, this is so cool," you know. So you got to do that stuff. It's so important, man. It's so important. Yeah, understood, Cranberry Landers. Tolkien implied that his entire platoon, those who didn't make it home, were as gifted of writers as he was, and that's the real shame of World War I. Indeed, what we would be without World War I and what was lost. Well, you have to figure. I mean, it was a similar thing. Well, with C.S. Lewis and Patty Moore. And I love talking about C.S. Lewis, by the way, during the December holiday Christmas season. It's one of the reasons why I will always revisit A Christmas Carol. Now, I've shown it previously, and I have no idea where it has ended up because it's a very, very small book. But I have a facsimile edition of A Christmas Carol, and I would encourage anybody who has not read that book in a while. It changed it changed culture. It changed the way we viewed Christmas. It's a ghost story. It's a brilliant work of fiction. And what kills me, and maybe someone in the chat can look this up and will know it on this fine Sunday. It's great to see you. How are you doing, Rachel Brinkley? Happy Sunday. And I love that mug you've got right there, that Salamandroid mug. Yeah, I love the creativity here at Comicsgate, man. It's great. But what was I even just talking about? Oh my gosh, I totally lost it. Oh, Gift of Riders. Yes, that's right. But Christmas Carol, when you're looking at it, the page count, I'm sorry, not the page count, the word count of a Christmas Carol, the word count of a book that completely changed Western traditions is something else. And I look at that book, and it's not just the economy of it. Yeah, the Sal mug, it's great. Holds my ink pens well. Excellent, excellent. The economy of that book, but there's no fat in it. It's like watching Seven Samurai to read A Christmas Carol in a strange sense. It's exactly the amount of words and pages that you need in order to convey to people things like, I wear the chains I forged in life. You know? And I love that ending bit, and I am going to butcher it in trying to paraphrase it, but it was said that if ever there was a person who knew how to celebrate or kept Christmas in his heart year-round, I forget what it was, that it was Ebenezer Scrooge. It's a story of redemption. Whereas Moby Dick is such an exceptional book because it's a person's adventure that he himself describes as, much like all of those names. What Moby Dick does with that chapel scene and where it's going. It could be me. My audio could be bad. Let me double check. Okay, Blue Snowball, it says it's up. Let me just double check here. I think I turned it up a bit, but you never know. I'm also leaning back away from my mic, which is a terrible habit I have. I'll turn up just a little bit more, and we'll see if that gets you any more volume. Let me know how that comes off there, okay? And let me move sorry for that if it's too loud. Let me move my chair a little bit closer to the mic. But it's almost as if you're reading the names on this plaque of people who've been lost at sea. And very shortly, characters that we come to know, characters that we spend time with, we're going to see their names will either be lost or they're going to be more fodder for those plaques. These men who go out whaling in order to, light the world, bring light to the world with oil lamps and whale oil lamps before we moved over to petrol. And there's something really beautiful about that, because we have several cemeteries near our house. This is New England, and whenever I go walking in cemeteries, I always find I'm always very aware of the folks who have that these are people who lived lives much like mine. The ones that really get me. It's such a great novel, and I feel that. I feel in a weird way, I feel fortunate that I struggled so much with reading fiction. I know that may sound crazy, but it's almost as if it was just saving one more amazing thing for me down the stretch. And now that I've really connected with it, I won't let it go. I'm like a dog with a bone. And reading things like Moby Dick will improve your life. I had a back and forth with my brother, and it was all in love. Yes, Arthur C. Clarke, what a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant man. And yes, 2010 Odyssey 2 is a great book of redemption and hope. I have not read it yet. I have not had the pleasure yet, but I've only seen 2001. I have not read the book 2001, but I may have to put that on my to-do list. Arthur C. Clarke is amazing. But it's a fascinating thing because before I learned about Max Brooks and his experiences, I never would have thought of writing a novel. So some of my favorite books to read, I love the Sherlock Holmes series. It's a character that I identify the most with in literature is Sherlock Holmes. His restlessness, his need to always be working, him putting together very strange things and making really strange connections with things, which is something I've always done, alarmingly so, and it's great. Yeah, did Shanth admit he had a reading problem? Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I admit it proudly, I'll say, because it's I love reading. I love reading so much. And it's funny because I'll tell you something that people are shocked when I admit, and which is funny because I love telling people this. I love sharing this with people. Of my deficiencies when I was young, well, my dyslexia got to me when I was young. Yeah. Well, as someone once said, one of my favorite comedians once said, he goes, my mother was a member of DAM, Mothers Against Dyslexia. And that joke has made me laugh for 3 or 4 decades now. I don't know why that joke always gets me. Arthur C. Clarke is another good book by Arthur C. Clarke. Sorry, I started in the wrong place. Is A Fall of Moondust. My God, that wins just for the title alone. But one of the things people really cannot believe is that one of my biggest deficiencies when I was young was hand control. I could not write letters. I had the most awful hand control. I would write with my left hand holding my right hand, trying to get my letters to look good. I was kept in from recess to work on my letters. I struggled. And I drew all the time, but it was while my drawings, people found my drawings impressive, maybe for their what I was putting, something I couldn't have seen at that point. I could only see, really good artwork, and I knew my artwork wasn't that. But people would react to my artwork, and but I always looked at other artists and was driven by the fact that they were so good, and I wanted to be better, and that's never changed. Yeah, my handwriting, I was told, was horrific, so I can relate. Well, and so this is, I'll read this first because it is Sunday. Cranberry Langers, with, of course, Ecclesiastes 7:2. It is better to go to a house of mourning than to a house of feasting, for death is the destiny of everyone. Amen. And very much a big part of Moby Dick. I have doctor's handwriting, says Bear Night. Indeed, I have to stay in from recess. Terrible. Oh, yes. Yeah, it's a rough thing. And mainly it's rough because everyone's looking at you and they know why you're in, which is a little bit tough. But, our experiences, I think, sometimes help to shape us and help to form us. And the thing that kind of gets me about all this stuff is, speaking of things you get to do when nobody's looking, I have always had absolutely atrocious handwriting. And because I'm a huge fan of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, my favorite Sir Arthur Conan Doyle book, if you ever want to read a book about guys and a coming-of-age story for a young man who goes out into the field and has these adventures and comes back realizing how silly the reason he went out was, it's such a great book. It has the best gut punch ending, but you just crack up. You will belly laugh at the end of it, is The Lost World. I love The Lost World by Arthur Conan Doyle. It is such a good book. And I own the silent film of it because I adore that book. Professor Challenger is one of my favorite. If I were ever to have a handle or a nom de plume teaching, it would be, if I ever went into some kind of teaching thing, I think it would have to be Professor Challenger, one of the great characters of all time. And what a great fist fight description. I just studied the book of Ecclesiastes last night. It's sobering and put a lot in perspective. Everything is vanity at Cranberry Langers. Yeah, there's some beautiful stuff. So I made the decision, looking at Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's handwriting, that I was going to learn how to write like Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, and I was going to stop writing in the childish all caps block lettering I did, which was fine. I mean, I could have done that forever as a comic book lettering. It's quite useful. And I said, I've never been able to write script. I'm going to learn how to write script. And so I started, I was keeping a journal, and I just said, okay, I'm going to just force myself to write in script in my journal. And I absolutely, good afternoon to you, Jay Gatt. How are you doing, my friend? Cheers, my friend. Cheers. And I started working on it. And now when I sign everything, when I write notes, when I write on the interior notes on the comics I send out, I'm writing in a script that I'm actually proud of, and I just enjoy it now. I enjoy the act of writing and committing things to knowledge, and even the notes. Actually, I wonder if I have any kicking around here. Probably do. I do have the Nosfero, some of the Nosfero layout pages here. Okay, that's a nude figure. I can't put that in front of the camera. Lots of sketches, gotta say. Of all the dang things, is this actually a pile of sketches on which I had written nothing? God. Heaven help me. Oh, for Pete's sake. Where is this? There's got to be something with writing on it in this pile of paper. Happy Sunday! How are you doing, Lloyd? It's great to see you, my friend. Oh my gosh, I woke up thinking about that painting this morning, Lloyd. You wouldn't believe it. If ever there was something I was afraid to put in the mail, it was that painting. It was that painting, guys. And I didn't even... What's up, Nomad? You gifted a Shanth and Jetty membership. Thank you so much, Nomad. I just realized I got a super chat from Cranberry Landers and I didn't even play a cheerleader. My God. Mr. Bubbles received a channel membership. Nomad, I got to play some cheerleaders. The volume has been adjusted. It will not be so loud. An embarrassment of riches this Sunday, having all of you here. Let me see here. Okay, I turned down the volume, so hopefully this isn't too bad. And these are for Cranberry Landers. I appreciate your patience. Thank you so much. Charge! Charge! Happy Sunday, everybody. So yeah, so here's an example. These are some sketches, and this is me kind of just writing out how I write in script. Now I have entire notebooks and sketchbooks where you can see me writing in this manner. But it just really took me a while to get comfortable with my handwriting. I was so self-conscious about it. You know, I was so self-conscious about it. And let me see here. Let me see what I have here. And I'll tell you why handwriting is important. By the way, I found this next to my desk today. I used to keep this in my office. We have this in our house. But I had this in my office when I was teaching college. And I can't say enough good things about it. But if you're looking for a quote to have around you at all times, this is one of my favorites. Let us beware of losing our enthusiasm. Let us ever glory in something and strive to attain our admiration for all that would ennoble our interests, in all that would enrich and beautify our life. And being here with you guys on a Sunday, talking about art, talking about books, all of this stuff enriches my life. And I thank you for being here. And I thank you guys for, my God, super chats and gifted memberships. All that's great. It's the icing on the cake, but that's one of those things, man, that really is something. Those homunculi walkers, it has to be done. Listen, I don't know whether to scratch my watch or wind my behind, as they say. I had a teacher who used to say that, and it cracked me up every single time. But let me see if I can find... I've got my sketch I have to mail off to Juju, which I'm very excited about. Juju, thank you for picking that up. For any of you guys who missed it, I don't know how much of it or for how long I can show it, but this is the gouache sketch I did on Kings. If you guys aren't watching Kings, I will be whenever I'm on there, I'll be auctioning off some artwork, and you are more than welcome to come in there, join us, watch some incredible artists and brothers work, and you will have a good time, and then you can pick up a piece of artwork if you feel the need. So I want to show you guys. Let me see if I can do this here. There we go. Look at this. So this is just a scrap piece of sketch paper that I was working on the other day. God, I am sorry for all of the crazy wobbling that you guys are experiencing here. My bad. How do I put this so that it works? All right, we'll do it that way. We'll see where we go. I love my TV remote control here so I can keep HD trains in the loop. Here you go. So... most of you got your handles there in the chat. So let me see. We'll start with this one. Wait, oh, not on frame. There we go. That's better. You know if that shows up. And there you go. That's the fun thing about doing this stuff, is that writing down, when I sign things, when I write people's names, it gives me a chance to really kind of take a look, spend time, and think about what I'm doing. Okay? This is the stuff that I really enjoy. And, which mask looks ominous? Oh, this thing right here. Let's try it, shall we? Let me know. And let me see if I can make this happen. Anybody want to see their name? You just tell me you want to see me write your name and write out what you want me to write. Happy to do it. It's fun. Part of the fun morning. But all of this stuff was so difficult. God, my hands are dry as a freaking skeleton. Let me see here. Dan Lawless is so good to gamble. It seems, yes. Let me see here. Who else have we got here? Just let me know. I'll be happy to do it. Let's see who else I've got here in the chat. T Mello, I've got Cranberry Langers. Let me see. Okay, let me see. Just tell me what you want me to write down name-wise, and I'll do it. And then we've got, let's see, Rachel here. Let me try that one. I haven't done that one in a while. I haven't done ours. Let me see if I can do this here. Name just jumped, so my spelling is not king here. There we go. And then I've got, let me see here. Who else have I got? I've got Lord Hinson, Comic Skater, celebrates 11 months. Has it almost been a year? Holy cow, Lord Hinson. My gosh. Outstanding. We have to get some cheerleaders. Yeah, I've written that a few times, I think. Let me see here. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, you will be seeing it written out soon. A lot, actually. That's right. Thank you. Yeah, right. Thank you, John Malin. I'm happy to do that. Indeed. And you guys don't even know the beginning of the meaning of that because John has been incredibly helpful. I asked him to be another set of eyes on Spring Ball, and he was very helpful. So here you go. And then we must have, of course, there you go. John is it's interesting too because I've been looking at the diabolical handwriting of Mary Shelley. People who say that she didn't write Frankenstein are off their trolleys. She did. Because the myth that she was just a transcriber is insane when you see her handwriting and realize no one would hire her to be a transcriber for anything. My God. And I'm actually going to go into that on a video that I'm doing soon in the future. But, yeah, there's something really, really fun about, like, if I was confident enough, I would love to do some hand lettering on my books. If I was confident enough, but there's so many things when you're doing full color work, particularly when you're painting, but even when I do Spring Ball, guys, I'm doing full color work. I'm painting it and doing the lines in addition. But I was working on this because I have an extra spread I need to fill for the Nosfero oxidized edition because you have to do it in a count of 4 and I miscounted, so I need to have 56 pages instead of 54. But this is one of the pages I was working on yesterday afternoon and today, in addition to doing Spring Ball stuff. Spring Ball, Mark, oh my goodness. Spring Ball is going to have more pages than was advertised because that's how the story goes. But there is some stuff that is coming to it to where, for those of you guys who bought the throwback edition of the book, which is going to collect the first version of Spring Ball in it, the first, how it looked in 2002, your minds are going to be blown by how different, but how it's insane. the city of Kingsport, all of it. What's up, Beowulf? How are you doing? And thank you for dropping a link, my brother. It is great to have you here with us. I hope you're having a great day and a happy Sunday. It's going to be so fun. But I was working on this, where we have my version of Der Golem, because the first Nosfero book, for those of you guys who don't know, and for those of you guys waiting on the second printing of the book, like I said, the printer that I've gone to for all my art books, Nosfero, is closing. They're closing down their business, and I had some conversations with them about possibly doing Nosfero, but I'm just a little worried if something goes wrong, I can't get in touch with them. So I'm talking to a printer here, and then I'm talking to another printer a lot of people in Comicsgate use, so we'll see how it goes. But this book, and Nosfero himself, was inspired by the German silent film Nosferatu, obviously. Nosferatu. That's why I can't wait to do Nosfero too. It's such a great idea. But it's that's what it was inspired by. Well, the next book is inspired by Der Golem. And Der Golem is sort of this incredible creature of alchemy, this sort of unstoppable force, but I wanted to do my version of it. And my version of it is essentially Der Golem meets The Death Dealer by Frazetta. I wanted to do, and I know some of you guys have probably seen that. I don't even know where those sketches are, if I'm being honest. Maybe they're back. Are they back here? That's a sketch. Guys, my wife just weeps at the amount of art that I have in my office. It just blows her mind. She's just like, this is just piled up. I go, babe, what do you want me to do? I'm a mess. You knew that when you married me. No. I mean, I am lousy with artwork, people. It's everywhere. Absolutely. There's stuff that are just ideas I haven't even... I haven't even figured out where the hell these things are going. They're just story after story after art project after art project. There's so much stuff going on. It's like I can't stop, won't stop. There's Bosch's beautiful spring ball that I always have close by. Love this thing. Shoot, I'm going to have to track that down. But guys, if you just want an example of what is kicking around, and of course, as you know, the Golem of Prague, Prague is where Alphonse Mucha, one of my favorite artists, has his museum, and that is his home turf. But look at this. These were early ideas for what Nosfero could be, for what the story might be. I don't share these enough, probably because you know, why would one? But I'm going to see if I can find, because I know it's kicking around here somewhere. But here is, some of you guys got this print, but here is the cover for Nosfero Death Will Die. And you guys can see, if I raise that up a little bit, you guys can see what's involved in that. But just trying to make, you know, stuff that speaks to the audience and stuff that is, you know, we're always, gosh, I did put tape on this, but let me see. This one, I have not had a chance to work on anything outside of Springball and Nosfero because you got to do it. You got to make hay while the sun is shining. But these pieces in particular are a fun idea for a story that I was telling. I've told only a few people about the story, and you guys. I've talked to you guys about it. Jonathan Jetty Art, dude, I've been trying to get people to Anne Frankenstein's... My glasses just fell. Shoot, it just jumped again. I've been trying to get people to do Anne Frankenstein's monster where she takes Hitler and turns him into a golem since he was part Jewish so she can get revenge on the Nazis. That's freaking sick as an idea. That's very cool. What's up, Benjamin Soto? How are you doing, my friend? I love seeing that pumpkin. Always puts a smile on my face. Halloween Head Comics, you cannot get any better than that. I always say that when I'm painting, I have art that is unfinished too. It's part of having artism. There you go. I always say this, that when I'm painting my work and I'm making my artwork, I view it like I'm decorating for Halloween. So these are some paintings for a story that I haven't figured out yet, and it's a headless character story like Headless Horseman, which is one of my favorite stories, another one of my favorite American classics. I mean, if you're an American and you love Halloween, you've got to read that story. It's a trip. It's funny. It's not a story of fear. It's a story of, a Connecticut interloper coming into Pennsylvania, not Pennsylvania, a Dutch, New York Dutch settlement, and trying to run off with and secure the hand in marriage of the wealthiest girl in town as an interloper, so that he can secure his land, sell it, and then F off to the south somewhere and buy a lot of land. He doesn't care anything for the town he's in teaching, and how they scare him off. But man, is it a great, great story. Is that a skull in the background in the first panel? Yes, it is. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There's tons of stuff. I'm trying to see if I have... Let me see if I can fit this on here. Soda for everybody here in the house. If you've ever had a Coke for breakfast and you're from the South, you know what I'm talking about. Let me see. Okay, so I've got all these. Where does all this artwork even come from? I remember, like, every now and again, someone will show me artwork. When John was giving me notes and thoughts on Springball, I took copious amounts of notes. He was kind enough to actually send me his notes as well. But it was so fun. Yes, Doolaham Ghoul, basically. Yes, indeed. I love the Headless Horseman, too. Yeah. So, if you are a Headless Horseman fan of that Hessian whose head may have been carried away by a cannonball, according to the book, which I have right here. Oh, my camera's all cattywampered, as we say. Where I'm from. There we go. So, I have the Headless Horseman, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow book right there. Leather bound by, I think it was Easton Press. But this year this was released. You can still get it. I have long wanted to have a Headless Horseman done in the style of Mary Blair's beautiful color work for The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. And they release statues that cost a fortune, that are just astronomical. Sometimes they break, but they don't release a lot of stuff for it. And this year, even with a base, so I was able to unscrew the ornament, they released a Halloween ornament of the Headless Horseman with a base and a little tombstone there. And it's just such a nice little statue. So if you're like me and you grew up watching Disney's Halloween Treat in the 80s when you got home from trick-or-treating, and you watched that final Headless Horseman sequence and you love the whole history of the Headless Horseman, even though he didn't go over a covered bridge, if you watch my short on this channel of what the real Headless Horseman bridge looked like, you will love it. I have the version of him as a villain for my future project called Little Jack. That's awesome. That's so good. Yeah, if you want to watch a really cool channel, if you're into Halloween, there's a channel that I support that's on YouTube, and it's called Detours. And the name of the guy is Derek Millen. And he actually just went to Rhode Island Comic-Con. But during Halloween, if you missed those videos, go and watch them. It's a feast. He does Halloween in Salem, Massachusetts. And they have got so much cool stuff in Salem. They have what they call the International Monster Museum. He does a tour of it. It's so great. By the way, brother, you have a new viewer here with me. Her name is Michelle. Hello, Michelle. Welcome, welcome. It's glad to have you. We're glad to have you with us. What can I say? I'm glad to have you with me, but we're all glad to have you with us. Everybody say hello to Michelle in the chat, please. Let's get that done. Michelle, it's a pleasure to have you with us. And but it's an interesting thing because when I'm reading Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, what is up, Siege Perilous? How are you doing? I feel like it's been a minute. Hail. And he is my story. He is in my story as well. Guys, what a great book. What a great book. You guys are sending me down Guys, okay. Let's talk about this too in general. If you have not gotten into, outside of Tom Sawyer, Huckleberry Finn, and Mark Twain, with all due respect, if you have not gotten into some of the other amazing foundational works of American literature, things like Moby Dick, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, my God, do it. I love world literature, but man, I absolutely love I just love America so much, man. I love this country so much, and I love the work of its land, the work of where we live, and where people talk about the things that are going on here. And when I read Lovecraft, he's talking about a town I've walked the streets of and met my wife in. It's something else. Hello, Michelle from Brent Mackey. There you go. Let me see here. Let me see. Oh, sorry. Rachel says Mark's Music Obsession. Rachel. Uh-oh. By the way, brother, you have a new viewer here in Michelle. Did it auto-correct you? There you go. I drew the Headless Horseman. Where is it? I drew the Headless Horseman as Ghost Rider a while back with a flaming ghost skull. That is awesome. Yeah, I'm working on... So America is fantastic, awesome, so much history. Yes, it is. When I would drive up to work, I would drive past Lexington and Concord in Massachusetts, and it would always be a thing. But this is a gigantic, tall canvas. Yes, by the grace of God, 100%, I was born in this country. Of all the places I could have been born on the planet. Yes, I'm all good, Siege Perilous. How are you doing? And did I miss a question or something? Let me just double check. Hale, I didn't know if you asked me a question there. But yeah, I'm doing very, very well, actually. And staying, staying busy. It's a little tough, when the kids go off to college. It's our second year as empty nesters, and I think I think we were in kind of shock the first year, and then it hit us harder this year. But everything is going very well, Siege Perilous, and it's great to see you, my friend. But I've been wanting to do a tall vertical painting of the monster, just so you guys can get an idea. It's 1 foot wide by 3 feet long, this painting. So it's going to be a large, large painting. But I want to do prints of it or something when I finish painting it. But I'm just scribbling it out and trying to find it. Yep. And American Literature Book Club, absolutely. And certainly starting with the foundational works of the country and the U.S. Constitution. And certainly the Declaration of Independence, which is one of the most, such a beautifully written document. But you guys bring it out of me. Chat, I wish I knew how to quit you, but I don't. I do not. I'm going to knock everything over, but that's all right. So, in addition to, just saw the little funeral service picture, saw the funeral service picture of one of my friends who passed away this year, who was the inspiration for this novel I started writing. But next to the Sleepy Hollow, I have my big U.S. Constitution over there, but I've got my pocket Constitution where I can get at it in Declaration of Independence, which is right next to Sleepy Hollow. But this book right here, guys, when you buy books, Go Babylon, how are you doing? It's great to see you. Make it a door panel poster like the famous, that's what it's inspired by. You absolutely got it. It's inspired by Jack Davis's beautiful vertical door poster. So 100% that's what it's inspired by. No ifs, ands, or buts. Love that. So if you are going to have books in your house, and I will say this, Barnes & Noble makes it very, very easy. They do faux leather classics. You don't have to buy something. This was a bit of a decadent purchase for me. But my copies of Frankenstein, my copy of Dracula are the Barnes & Noble editions. I have a Sherlock Holmes. I have the Curious Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. But this is just illustrated by Arthur Rackham, who's one of my favorite artists. If you guys want, I'm sure I've shown it before, but I can grab my Arthur Rackham book. It's somewhere in here. Books used to be and reading used to be my kryptonite, but let's take a look at this book. I think this is is it an Easton edition? I don't know. I just don't know. But look at these beautiful, oh gosh, it's out of frame. Look at these beautiful end pages. They're just gorgeous. I just saw the 17th or 16th century silk-covered book. Oh my God, beautiful. And then here are Arthur Rackham's beautiful illustrations. There's Katrina and Ichabod, and he's telling stories of all the specters and ghosts and things. Beautiful. It is Easton Press. There it is. Eastern Press. Funny enough, Norwalk, Connecticut, where Connecticut is where Ichabod Crane was from. And this book pokes heavy fun at Connecticut. Just and it's so tongue-in-cheek. You'd have to live there to know it. That's the fun part of it. It pokes fun at everybody and everything. But here you go for the opening. A pleasing land of drowsy head it was, of dreams that wave before the half-shut eye, and of gay castles in the clouds that pass, forever flushing round the summer sky. Castle of Indolence. In the bosom of one of those spacious coves which indent the eastern shore of the Hudson, at the broad expansion of the river denominated by the ancient Dutch navigators the Tappan Zee, and where they always prudently shortened sail and implored the protection of St. Nicholas. It was St. Nicholas Day, by the way, on the 6th, so happy belated St. Nicholas Day to any of you guys who celebrate it. Being 4th Austrian, we celebrated St. Nicholas Day when I was growing up. The protection of St. Nicholas, when they crossed there, actually it's funny enough, they're the Dutch, and I'm Austrian, of course St. Nicholas. When they crossed there lies a small market town or rural port, which by some is called Greensburg, but which is more generally properly known by the name of Tarrytown. This name was given, we are told, in former days by the good housewives of the adjacent county, from the inveterate propensity of their husbands to linger about the village tavern on market days. Be that as it may, I do not vouch for the fact, but merely advert to it for the sake of being precise and authentic. Not far from this village, perhaps about 2 miles, there was a little valley, or rather lap of land among high hills, which is one of the quietest places in the whole world. A small brook glides through it, with just murmur enough to lull one to repose, and occasional whistle of a quail or tapping of a woodpecker is almost the only sound that ever breaks upon the uniform tranquility. How beautiful is that? And happy St. Nicholas Day to you, Cranberry Langers. I love Sorte Pit. Oh, well, let me tell you. I can tell you stories about that. Yeah. That's like reading, I read Struwwelpeter when I was a kid, and Struwwelpeter will absolutely turn your head around as a kid. Yeah, no doubt. I got so many books here, loved reading since I was a kid. Brent Mackey, that is a blessing and a joy. Connecticut deserves it, says Paul Schmidt's guitar. There are so many beautiful things. Michelle Edinger, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Thanks for the warm welcome. You are very welcome, and my pleasure to do so. So let me see here. Where are we? So let's take a look at some of these beautiful Arthur Rackham illustrations. There we are. Reciting for their amusement all the epitaphs on the tombstones. And so here's one of those great sequences, lovingly brought to life with ink and watercolor by the brilliant Arthur Rackham, one of the great illustrators of all time, if not one of the great artists. And you can see striding along the profile of Hill on a windy day. And I don't know if they have the rest of the quote. It was saying you could mistake him for a scarecrow that had eloped from a cornfield. And there's something to be said for that. But yes, Bob Ross said make friends with a tree. He was correct, as Bob Ross was correct on most things, I believe. The other thing is make friends with a book. Make friends with some artwork. It will enrich your life. Art and books are fantastic. I can dance if I have to, but when I see people with a real gift for dance, it brings so much beauty. When I see people with a gift for playing live music, whether it's the guitar or the violin or the fiddle or the hammer dulcimer or whatever it is, it doesn't matter. I love that sort of aspect to it. And one of the fun things about this and doing my books is getting to share the craft and having you guys actually be the patrons of this channel. Channel members, thank you so much. And thank you to all you guys who gift channel memberships and gift super chats, all that stuff. But it's wonderful because I have so much fun streaming with people, and I have so much fun hanging out and just having a great laugh. And it's so wonderful to sit here and get to talk about these things, these books, with people who are interested and passionate about all these fascinating things that we get to talk about. And there's so much out there. Jonathan Jetty Art, have you seen the new fabulistic edition of Legend of Sleepy Hollow? I have not. It's on pre-order for $265 with beautiful paintings by Gregory. Oh, I bet it's beautiful. Oh, I wish I could afford that. That sounds amazing. That sounds amazing. Oh my goodness. But you see all these little ink drawings. I mean, there's so much life in this. Look at how much life is in the character lines here. When I was talking about Bosch's work earlier, and I think about when I myself am doing cartooning. Cartooning is not a reductive act. It's a distillation of something. And it's the same thing with when you're painting more expressionistically. You're trying to capture something. You're not trying to get away with anything. And you can see that kind of joyous... You guys know this. Look at the trees. Anybody are thinking of Snow White right now? This is the stuff that inspired, and also they were contemporaries, Gustav Tengren's beautiful work and production work and design for Snow White, and they also worked on a lot of the backgrounds. This is the stuff that inspired it. Artists like Arthur Rackham. Just incredible stuff. Bob Ross is the god of happy accidents. Yes, he is, and long may he live. And I'm so glad, by the way, that the Bob Ross Inc., which for many years had deprived Steve Ross of what I think that Bob wanted him to have through idiocy and everything else. There's a Netflix documentary on it that details the kind of tragic aspect of that. But having heard from one of Steve Ross's friends, apparently Bob Ross Inc., facing a lot of backlash, has decided to make that right to Steve's satisfaction. So we can thank God for that. Cool idea indeed, right? Let's see. I like watching Japanese and Chinese people play bluegrass and alt rock songs on their traditional instruments. That is the coolest stuff ever. Yeah, there is some great stuff out there. And thank you, Bearwolf. If you have not backed Springball Terminal Monstrosity yet, my God, do it. Because it's going to be, like with everything, Nosfero, it's up until it's not. And you want to make sure you get a hold of it. This may be one of my last campaigns I do on Indiegogo because their interface change has been a nightmare. So... I don't know what else to say about it. Hail CG, indeed. What's up, Ocean View Refugee? How are you doing? It's hard to make so much with so few lines, indeed. Calvin and Hobbes, my God, Bill Watterson, right? Is a perfect example. So simple, but so hard to create. 100%. Absolutely right. It's what I love about cartooning. I even like the typesetting in this, though. But look at that, how gorgeous that is. It's just a beautiful, beautiful little illustration in this book. I do think a return to beautifully illustrated books, and we're seeing it a lot now, but look at how stunning that is. Just gorgeous. I actually, he's in the middle of a lot of moving and all sorts of other stuff, but I was giving Eric Weathers pretty regular painting lessons for a while. He had an interest in it, and I wanted to make sure I helped him with that on his painting journey. And I got him buying. What's up, Wildman? Actually, hail Sean the chat. Hail to you, my friend. It's great to see you on this fine Sunday. And hello, where are we? Shadowhawk Talks. It's great to see you, my friend. I hope you are doing well. This is the thing about it, is I said, look, it's hard to find a good book or a great book on N.C. Wyeth, but you can get these beautiful editions. I think you can still get them at a pretty good price, by the way. Yes, I heard I did real good. No, I wasn't there. That was Sean. But that would have been awesome. Those guys had a great time. That was Sean, and that was oh my God, Sean A. and Joe Sontag. So it was him who went out there with John in Michigan, and I thought it was so great. Seeing those pictures of those three guys together having a great time, how fun was that? It was terrific. So let me grab this real quick, because if you're looking to put some beautiful books in your library, let me grab these. Oh my God. Let me see if I don't trip over anything. Okay. Heavens to Betsy. Where is it? Here we go. Ooh, hopefully I don't knock any more over than I already have. Kick that box out of the way. So, here we are. First of all, well, we'll get to this in a second. We'll get to that. These editions were put out by a publisher reproducing the Scribner's Classics books as is, including the typography. So they photograph the type. This is N.C. Wyeth illustrated Treasure Island. I don't know how much this book costs, but it is not. It was not expensive. Athenaeum Books, which was, I think, a subgroup of shoot, what was it a subgroup of? I can't remember. But they photographed the typesetting from the original book in this. So you're actually getting as close to a facsimile as you can get, but they rephotographed the artwork. So they rephotographed the artwork, so you're getting the perks of, look at this. You're getting the perks of modern technology. This is stunning. This is an incredible painting. This is you want to talk about writing the history of American culture? This is where Pirates of the Caribbean came from, Howard Pyle and N.C. Wyeth's artwork. Howard Pyle illustrated many books. His student, N.C. Wyeth, is like responsible for almost all of the visions we have of pirates that we see. And if you're looking for books to read for yourself or for others, here you go. N.C. Wyeth illustrating Treasure Island. It is astounding. And so when people go, what are you looking for when you do Nosfero? I'm looking for a return to American craft and American artistry, and that is why I always say my books are made with liberty in the U.S.A., because I don't think that painted books and hand-painted illustration should go away. Look at this. My God. Look at that house, man. I mean, that house is incredible. This guy's stuff, if I can get a good angle on it, it looked like he painted it with like a butter knife. There we go. I mean, it is such a meaty application. They were originally lithographs that would have been pasted into the book, I bet. No doubt they would have been. But with today's printing technology, I mean, and it is technology, we're able to get closer than we ever have to showing these artists and their books. Look at this. He's going off to sea, and his mother is sad, and she's devastated. Her little boy is going off on his first adventure. Look at the subtlety of it. All of the value range is in the shadow. There's this richness in the shadow. Then when you get to the light, everything is blown out. So the sophisticated articulation of space is done in the shadow. Like, look at that little... You do that because you're awesome. You're N.C. Wyeth. But look at that little picture sitting there on the stairs and that little pan outside. My God. This is what it was like when I was a teacher. Somehow my class is filled up. I'll never understand why. But look at the cutlasses. Look at the muskets. And then look at the way the face is in shadow here. And it just creates that sense of... Let me turn the brightness down on my light. I realized I have it up all the way. There we go. And it's causing more of a glare than it needs to. Gorgeous. That's got to be the best volume of that book I've seen. It is. When N.C. Wyeth paints something, unless Howard Pyle or Maxfield Parrish got to it, it's the best edition. But look at the coats. My God, look at the coats. There's so many things. When I talk about art, there's so much you could clip out of context that would make people laugh. My God, look at the coats. There we go. We're hanging up the Union Jack here at our little makeshift fort. We're under siege from pirates. Look at the coat draped there. This stuff was all painted here in Pennsylvania near the Brandywine River, which is why it was called the Brandywine River tradition, started by Howard Pyle and his students. Brent Mackey says, I have the Templar Publishing edition of Treasure Island illustrated by Robert I'm pronouncing it wrong. Ingpen. I bet it's a stunner. Guys, this is the stuff that, and by the way, all of these stories are in the public domain. And if you look at Treasure Island, that was put out by RKO Publishing, RKO Pictures, but that was a Walt Disney joint. It is N.C. Wyeth's work come to light. The lighting and everything. You have to look at it in its remastered form. But look at that. Like, you see, this is the great thing about the read on this. You see all of... Damn it, I can't get a good angle. Oh, you know what I need to do? I'm being an idiot. I changed the angle of my phone, and it will change the angle of the light. So, one sec. So, if I take that, and then I move this at a 45... Nope. Got my angle wrong. Let's try this. That puts it in line directly. Let's see if this helps me. That helps me a little bit. But if you look at this, you see the painting, and you see, oh my gosh, the pirates are about to make it over this wall. And then, because of the way the contrast is set up, you go, oh no, they're already there. So you notice these guys first, piling over the wall, and then you look into the shadow and you realize the pirates have already breached. It's almost like animation, for God's sake. It's so beautifully done. If my wife were to come in here now and see me balancing books on all my original paintings, it would drive her crazy. But she's not here, is she? But yeah, here you go. One more step, Mr. Hands, said I, and I'll blow your brains out. And that is in the Disney movie. They show that scene, but look at that. Look at the murderous pirate coming up to try to take him out, and he's got both barrels pointed at him. Just incredible. Just incredible. And I think this is still available on Amazon. These are still available at good prices, and then there it is, of course. The pirate to end all pirates right there. Look at that. Long John Silver. I mean, guys, this is American artistic genius. And speaking of American artistic genius, let's talk about the colors of Mary Blair. Mary Blair was a Disney concept stylist, and you know her from It's a Small World, but she basically designed, there she is, there's the gangster herself. She designed the color design. This book was a Japanese exhibition they had of her work. This is what her early work, her student work, and some of the stuff that she did early in the industry looked like. My God, could this woman paint? Look at her. I mean, holy cow. Look at that. Just incredible. But what Mary Blair... Let's see if I can move this into a better position. What Mary Blair is most... What's up, Martin Solomon? How are you doing? Yes! You can get those classics with the Wyeth paintings for reasonable money. Every kid should have them, indeed. Let me see here if I can get this. Welcome, Martin. Vinny... Oh, my gosh. Why does everyone else's name hog all the vowels? Vinny Tartamella's Shadow of the Kraken is a very good pirate comic. Vinny's art is always really great as well. Well spotted there. Thank you, Shadowhawk Talks. Shanth, the old movie posters were kind of like that, and I understand the originals were indeed painted. Yes, their process was so good. That's damn good indeed. Nice bit of Toddy. That's indeed true. We'll just skip that, YouTube. So here are some of the drawings and things that Mary Blair would work on. Look at these. Look at these boards. And then there is Mary at work. Now, she was trying to figure out what this whole Disney thing was early on. She was trying to figure out, like, well, what does being a Disney artist mean? And you could tell she's bringing this kind of, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, ultra saccharine, kind of cutesy stylistic to her understanding of what Disney was and is. And what I love about her is, and I think some of the stuff was from Fantasia that she was doing, she got to a certain point to where she kind of just accepted the fact that she was being hired to bring fire to this thing, to really move this over here, to really bring a lot of energy to it. And once she got going with the colors, and they took a trip to South America as a part of the Good Neighbor program where we were trying to prevent, the whole communist thing. By the way, it's a shame that Song of the South is not been released, although some people are doing a remastering of it anyway outside of Disney. But what Song of the South showed, she went on site to rural Georgia to paint. And if you're from Tennessee, if you're from Georgia, if you know the area, good morning, Mr. Monkey Boy. How are you doing? It's great to see you. And thank you, Bearwolf, for dropping links to my comic book, Springball Terminal Monstrosity. All this stuff is going to be in there. Believe it or not, there are plenty of Disney, weirdly, fairy tale stuff nods in Springball, just like there are in Nosfero. That's always going to be a part of it, is early Walter Elias Disney work. But she paints the iron in the earth in Georgia. And it's red, and when it rains and it floods, there's this redness she talked about of the iron content going into all the streams. And if you're from there, you know what I'm talking about. Then, of course, there was this winter, cute ice skating thing. There was Johnny Appleseed, all of that stuff where she's kind of finding her language. Then we get to Cinderella. And Cinderella is where Mary Blair goes absolutely ham for the first time with her colors. She paints whimsy and wonder. I challenge anybody in the world to go up against, oh my God, nobody should go up against Memphis Barbecue. Beale Street is where, Beale Street and Memphis Barbecue is a triumph. Anybody who says otherwise hasn't been there. And they're kidding themselves. Period. Yeah, I think that must be a matter of record here at Shanthan Jetty Art. So look at the crazy things she was doing with the color palette. I mean, she was doing things with flesh tone that you just typically don't do. She was just graying it out, but she was getting to the essence of what it was. And when she would do scenes like Cinderella's, this is practically like storyboards from Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo. Look at the staircase going down with Cinderella racing down at the lights, the color. She was doing all of this stuff in gouache, just hammering this stuff out. And it's breathtaking. The wallpaper, the sisters, the sense of scale, the sense of scope. But then look at them chasing Cinderella down. Look at that. That's a setup right there for the Headless Horseman. Even looking at stuff like this. Look at how visually, if I can get this to work, visually evocative that is. There we go. Incredible stuff. And then by the time you get to things like Alice in Wonderland, she is just full tilt with her color. Just incredible. I mean, she went absolutely crazy with the colors in that movie. And Walt Disney basically said to the animators and everybody at the time, he goes, this is what I want. Do the color styling like this. Walt Disney had many gifts. He was a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant man. But he knew how to spot talent. And if people want to know what's the difference between any other studio head and the best studio head at your time, it's the ability to spot talent. Carl Laemmle Sr. knew how to spot talent. His son knew how to spot talent. Irving Thalberg knew how to spot talent. He was famous for that. Look at that. And Walt Disney certainly did. This painting by Mary Blair is referenced in Finding Nemo. Of course, there's the little house. Look, this Peter Pan, where these Peter Pan paintings are sublime. I mean, these are absolute perfection. Look at that, them hiking through Neverland and hiking through the jungles and the forests of Neverland at night. Mind-bending stuff. Simple things like this. Look at how small Captain Hook is in frame with Mr. Shmee, Mr. Smee, as they go to that Skull Rock. Incredible stuff. Pirate ships. I mean, this is someone who knew how to paint and knew how to draw. Just incredible stuff. So yeah, Mary Blair is yet another person that one can look to for color. But I think there's so many amazing... Our cup runneth over with art and American ingenuity. And if there's the early Disney movies were so well done that they just reused animation in other films for decades until around the 80s. You're absolutely right. And like, for example, in Beauty and the Beast, Gaston and that whole thing is essentially Brom Bones. And they make references to the guy sitting in the chair going, some who don't wear their skin or whatever in Ichabod Crane, Legend of Sleepy Hollow. That is directly in the guy who, what's his name? God, what is the name of that guy? Gaston makes his deal with in, gotta take my Advil, makes his deal with in, what's it called? About putting him in the insane asylum in Beauty and the Beast. So there's a lot of references to the older animation. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think they used the Katrina Van Tassel garb several times in various movies. But someone in the chat might let me know. But, you know, the original artwork for Snow White, the original artwork for Fantasia, the Psychologist, yes, Cranberry Langers. I think that's him. If you look that up online, you can see side-by-sides of it. And it is really something. Neo-Gastonism. Listen to the pronunciation, share definition, an inherently right right-wing, three-point political ideology based on the tenets practiced by Gaston and the Beauty and the Beast. My God, that's crazy. I forgot his name. Yes, the Jungle Book, Dance with Mowgli, and Baloo. Yes, fantastic stuff. These were animators and these were artists at the just doing incredible stuff, working their magic, dare I say. And we're all fortunate for it. We're all better off for it, you know, that they worked their magic and shared their magic with us. The joys of medication. Good thing. All of it is true. Simply green. Oh my God, you just cracked me up. Oh, thank God I wasn't drinking soda, because I am one of those people who does legitimate spit takes, and I forget what stream I was on with I think it was something that Captain Chokeout said, but I like spit through my hands trying to save paintings. It was all over the place. My God, it was terrible. I got cracked up so bad. And thank you again, guys. Springball Terminal Monstrosity. If you have not backed it yet, it has been such an incredible pleasure. And I said that my wife is kind of funny because she's gotten used to it. I have a tendency to wake up with my gratitude on 11. I work until I pass out. I wake up really wanting to kind of, you know, greet the day and get to work. But I'm also thinking about how fortunate I am. And I'm thinking about how fortunate I am in every aspect of my life. Even when things are tough, that's where my mind sort of default sets to. What did I walk into, Seeker of the Moon? God only knows. God only knows. And if you find out, let me know what this is. And but it's such an incredible thing to be able to meet peers in your profession, which is to say, when I say peers, I don't mean just the professional level of attainment or whatever one might think it is. There's minutia to the craft of making comics and making illustrations and painting and things like that you really can't discuss with a lot of people at a certain level, because far more than looking at it and critiquing it, there's how you do it and how you think about it. And I find that the more skilled and knowledgeable the people you're talking to about your work are when you get to a certain level, the less canned their advice is. It's not advice that's like, you need to do this, you need to do that. And I just had such an exciting experience when I was discussing Springball with John Malin. And John, he really he's not trying to, and this is the kind of best stuff. It's something that I love doing myself. I've just never really had many opportunities to be on the receiving end of it. Unfortunately, like I have my brother from another mother, Nick, who is one of the most insightful people you'll ever meet. And I talked to him about Nosfero, and we deep dove into the lore surrounding Der Golem and history and everything like that. I mean, he is a brilliant, brilliant guy. But when it comes to certain aspects of things I'm doing with Springball, I don't know a lot of people who are both conversant in it, in the subject matter, and then understand how it's done. And John is great and incredibly just great to have in that capacity when you're talking about your work, because there's the line work aspect of it, then there's the pacing aspect of it, the time aspect of it, and with all of my stuff, I'm basically doing the color, the composition, the writing, the story, all of that sort of stuff. And it's great to have somebody to bounce it off of who has some kind of connection or with an affinity for the work that you're doing. And I don't know how to describe that, but I do think that John has that gift of insight, which I can't overstate. And it's refreshing. It's rare to see. You see a lot of canned advice out there. And I always loved not giving canned advice, but it's great to be on the receiving end of it. And so when you see the things I'm doing, with Nosfero, and like this is to do something like this in traditional media, as I'm sure you can imagine, is highly complicated. And you've got so many moving parts, and having the benefit of having Eric Weathers there as a backstop, but and especially doing sort of more somber pedestrian scenes, beautiful scenes that are supposed to be quiet, and still the viewer. Of course, I'm thinking about people like Gustav Tenggren, who worked on Snow White with Walt Disney, as well as Bill Titlip and who else? Kay Nielsen, who did you guys know probably from the Fantasia scene, Night on Bald Mountain with the Chernobog demon and all the ghosts. That's like a Halloween mainstay for me. But when I'm doing a multi-paneled, in a sense, vignette spread like this, where there are no obvious panel borders, but it's just a series of Art Nouveau, dreamlike images that you're falling through. I mean, how many people can I go to and talk about the balance and things? I have a brother who's a painter, and I have my comic book brothers, but that's what you need. You need that stuff. I mean, for me, the origin story of Nosfero is one of my favorite parts in this comic. I mean, it's one of the best things about it for me because of how it came about and what it led to. And again, when you guys back these books, something to remember, for those of you guys who've backed them, is you're always going to get a bonus section. And the bonus section for the Oxidized edition just grew by 2 more pages, but you're going to get things like a look at my layouts, things that you guys in Comicsgate and you guys who are here and early to this stuff are going to see. I'm so glad Seeker of the Moon. That's really what we're doing here. And Springball is just a much more traditional looking comic in some ways, but it's every bit as independent as you can imagine. It goes back to my love of the fact that in 48 pages, I believe maybe it was 46, I can't remember, the mythos that is the foundation and led to everything afterwards of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was established. Now, if that sounds impressive, that you could do that in 40-something pages, Spider-Man has it beat because it did it in 12. Peter Parker, the death of Uncle Ben, the donning of his costume, the being bitten by a radioactive spider, the origin story in Amazing Fantasy 15 of Spider-Man was like 12 pages. 12 pages to establish something. And so I look at this stuff and I think it's not about the page count. It's about the backer count, the support count, the audience count, and the creativity count. That's what it comes down to. Being creative, but taking it seriously like it's a job. And it is a job. It's not, sitting around, wondering what life would be like to me if I was a tomato, although you see that out there sometimes. It's about the craftsmanship and the discipline, and it's so refreshing. What's the point of doing artwork like this and putting this much into your artwork if you don't have an audience like you guys to do it for, who appreciate what we're doing here with handcrafted artwork and story by people who are serious about story, with an audience who loves story, loves books. We are so fortunate, I can't tell you. Hey, now, don't stomp on my tomato dreams. Listen, your tomato dreams are safe here, Rant Market. They are safe here. And yeah, that Spider-Man intro is something I've looked over a lot just to see how it was put together. Steve Ditko was a genius on so many levels. And Springball owes a debt of gratitude to, of course, Steve Ditko, Todd McFarlane. Funny enough, Tim Vigil's in there, H.P. Lovecraft. There's so many people it owes a debt of gratitude to, but it's the way that the American art form of comics, just how it allows you to do things. I mean, funny enough, Walter Elias Disney, he's in Springball. He's in Nosfero. There's a staircase on the first page of Nosfero. The staircase that you see is in the background. It's very, very faintly in the background there. And they run up it later in the story, but it's just back there. Was inspired by the staircase that the Wicked Queen runs down in Snow White. that I forget who did the background watercolors for that, but it's beautiful. Aggrieved Stivko was so smart, crazy. He was 100%. If you want to introduce a new character with impact without breaking the page bank, yes. It's, how do I put it? It's not about anything other than that. Who are your top 5 X-Men? Jeez. Gosh. Talk about coming at somebody with a question that's intense, man. I won't ever pretend otherwise. Wolverine is number 1. Always. Wolverine, but let me be clear how I was introduced to him. Yellow and brown suit, John Byrne Wolverine. The first time I laid eyes on Wolverine was not in a comic book. It was in the Marvel Superheroes role-playing game character art. And it was in the Secret Wars Wolverine action figure. And I went, I've got to learn everything I can about that character. Then it was seeing him on the cover of Hulk 340 by Todd McFarlane. And it was, of course, the Chris Claremont X-Men, everything I went from there. So Wolverine, absolutely. See, I want to go into visuals with this. That's the problem. So let me stay in the visuals so I can be honest with certain things. And can I include, by the way, characters in the New Mutants? Like, how far am I allowed to go? Or do they have to have been, straight up according to Hoyle, X-Men characters? Do you see what I mean? If they can be New Mutants. Havoc. Havoc in the black and white suit. Loved Havoc. Let me see. So Beowulf has got Wolverine, Cable. Okay, so I guess we can go there. Warpath. Well, good choice. Legion and Storm. All mutants. Got you. Okay, all characters. So I'll give you one I'd love to see somebody draw again. Warlock. I love Warlock. I love Havoc. I love Wolverine. Let me see. Who have I not gotten to? Archangel. Badass. Love Archangel. I'm going to have to go even beyond that. You know who I loved when he was introduced in the story? And I apologize. Some of you guys may love him. No way I could ever keep this to 5. I'd be kidding myself keeping this to 5. Was Bishop. The first time I saw, and I love Cable. Guys, I am leaving out characters who I love, but Bishop. I loved the first time I saw that M tattoo. Yes, Doug Ramsey is the new Apocalypse, and they call him Revelation. Yeah, the Bishop was just cool as F when he came on the scene. I'm trying to keep it clean on this Sunday. Bishop just had this, and you could see where he was coming from. Do you know what I mean? Like with this M tattoo on his face. You could see, Bishop is Aboriginal, and his great-grandfather is Gateway. Gateway's another great character. This is a nightmare. Colossus. I love Colossus. Where do you go? Nightcrawler. It's ridiculous. It's a pantheon, the X-Men. I like Cyclops. I think Cyclops is one of the most taken for granted X-Men characters. Is Cyclops. We just assume Cyclops is going to be there. You know what I mean? As sort of the... I don't know what we would call him. But I think Cyclops, just his inability to show his eyes and everything like that, it's tough to say. Colossus was cool. Nightcrawler, yeah. Ditto on Cyclops. Yeah. Easier answer is yes. Yeah, I used to say to my students, if someone who you're applying for a job with ever asks you if you do digital or traditional work, your answer should always be yes. You know, Leech, Wolverine, Gambit is another great one. Nightcrawler and Chamber 2, my gosh, too many to choose from. Yeah, not being able to sell X-Men comics is like being born on third base and not being able to steal home. You know what I mean? It makes no sense to me at all. The X-Men in their various incarnations are just incredible. Iceman when he's done well. Every now and again, I will just get an image in my head Wills Portasio. I'm pronouncing his name terribly, I'm sure. Iceman. And it'll just put a big smile on my face. What a great artist he was. The way he did the ice was so kick-ass. Wills is a genius. Yeah, Iceman, when well done. Absolutely right. Let me see. One of my favorite... yeah, Iceman froze hell one time. That was how powerful he is. Yeah. One of my favorite X-Men stories, crossovers with all the X books, was Extinction Agenda. X-Men Extinction Agenda. And I don't know if it had the death of... I think it had the death of Warlock in it. I'm not sure. But Warlock is such a fascinating character. I love the Asgardian Wars New Mutant stuff that Art Adams did. I've actually am looking at it. It's right over there. The Marvel Universe, Arthur Adams. That stuff was so great. Where do you go? I mean, Forge, Storm. Storm is a fantastic character. Oh gosh, so many characters. But I will say this. Isn't it funny that the first two I listed, and I could think about this. You guys always bring interesting stuff to the game, man. Even the simplest of questions bring so many interesting directions and detours. But that the first painted comic book that I think I saw and really understood, maybe I'm wrong on that though, there had to have been something before it. It was in the mix, was Havoc Wolverine, and I don't even own it. I don't have a single copy. If I did, I think we lost it in a flood that we had, many years ago. I think it might have been before our kids were born. But I did have copies of Havoc Wolverine, painted by John J. Muth and Kent Williams. Talk about a team-up of two great characters. My God. New Mutants 19 is my first comic. Wow. I have the Demon Bear tattooed on my back. That is awesome. Yeah, Avengers Doomsday should just be Professor X blinking twice and telling the team to get back on the jet. They're dead. Yes. Yeah, they dead. 100%. Slain for me. Yes. Slain is an absolute masterpiece, and it was one that has influenced what I do with Nosfero and introduced... like doing a fully painted comic book. People talk a lot about Alex Ross. And Alex Ross is brilliant. He's almost like the Andrew Loomis of comics in a sense. If he taught more, he would be like Andrew Loomis. He's very good at what he does with superheroes. But Simon Bisley's Slain and the comic books that come out, Simon Bisley's Judgment on Gotham, for God's sake. Hold on a second, since you brought it up. Yeah, I can't. We can't talk about this without visual. Knocking over boxes everywhere. Without having some visual reference. Slain is a special book. Slain is a very, very special. It truly feels. It doesn't feel illustrated. It doesn't feel tickled to death. It feels painted, and sometimes I think that the over emphasis on getting everything correct can prevent artists from getting things right. And I could speak to that's the difference between Steve Ditko and Jack Kirby and other artists. And Simon Bisley with Slain, and even funny enough, one of the people he inspired, Kevin Eastman. When Kevin Eastman did the cover that I have over there of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, he was very influenced by Simon Bisley. You know, the famous one with Michelangelo in the background there, and then the turtles there. I mean, just fantastic stuff. But, gosh, what a stack of books we have going. Nice, I've got the anniversary one. They just put out. I heard this hardcover has better covers. Oh, yeah, I saw that. Colors. I got you. I got your correction. Hail, Admiral Wackass. Welcome. And thank you, man. You're still number 2 in the channel members, man. Whenever I see that, puts a big smile on my face. But do you guys see how him and Richard Corbin, who I know were contemporaries or maybe Actually, no, Corbin was before him, but I think an influence. They, like, holy crap. This is comic booking. Look at that. Look at that face. How beautiful is that? It's a comic. And it's so, he does little things that are, this is bananas. Like when you're like a 14-year-old boy, this is like your life goal. You're like, well, I'm going to obviously ride a giant stag with the heads of my enemies, on it. When that goes without saying. But yeah, he brings a lot to just the kind of majesty and magic that he's able to get. Right? And thank you, Siege Perilous, thank you for bringing that up, by the way. And it is great seeing you. Some of you guys, I know it's like we got all these crazy things going on, but we're always running around like chickens with our heads cut off. You know what I mean? It's like somebody calls me and like, my daughter calls me and she's sick, and we're like, okay, do you need to come home? We're going to take care of you. You guys know how it goes. We've all got crazy, crazy lives and things going on. But it's the fact that he could go to these almost, go from that heavy metal, no pun intended, action stuff to practically the Garden of Eden sort of stuff. And of course, Frazetta is the father of so much of this. But, like, this is what I love about him. You know what I mean? This is honest, authentic cartooning. And if you've ever had a woman upset with you, is there anything truer than this painting? I don't think so. But this is the crazy part about it. There's almost an Andrew Wyeth quality to the painting in this long horizontal panel. Isn't that beautiful? My goodness. Just beautiful. But it's I forget where it is because, I know a lot of people have talked about how Rob Liefeld's Blood Wolf was, basically, Lobo. But what's really funny is somewhere in this book, there is a panel with one of the characters where it's Blood Wolf. Like he basically got Blood Wolf out of Slain. And by the way, this is insane. Look at the colors in this. That's wild. Bottom right looks like Beowulf's art. And it's gone. Bottom right where? Tell me and I'll find it. What was it of? Was it this? Ocean View Refugee, let me know. Oh, the Faces sequence of panels, was that the one? The Native... Oh, for heaven's sake. Was it this? Let me know. Got it. Okay. I'm getting there. Yep, that one. Okay, so the one with all of the faces on it. Got it. There we go. Yep. This one. Got it. Yeah, this is the thing that is so fascinating to me about this work. And painting is so fun. There's a joy to it, some would say. And, Bob, I'm talking to you, God rest you. But it's making art. When I try to take the same kind of approach of just attacking the blank, SPRINGBALL screen or the page file that I'm working on with my paint as I do when I'm painting on Nosfero. I try to go after the thing. And when I'm doing single illustrations, holy heck fire. Look at those teeth on that skull. That is some wild, amazing stuff. I mean, and he just goes everywhere. You get to pages and you just can't believe that you're looking at the same guy. Yeah, that's skull panel, right? Incredible. And welcome. Is it Biscanator? Welcome. I'm always trying to read everybody's name here and make sure I get it pronounced right. But look at that. I mean, every single one of these is a beautiful painted sketch. And I love the pencil stuff he does with the washes over it. Really cool. I want to try to do more stuff like this as well. I just got to find the right time for it. I want to do more stuff like this on, oh my days, we'll say. I've been watching a lot of British boxing, and you will hear oh my days a lot. But look at that crazy dragon panel. What is up, Bordeaux? How are you doing? It is great to see you. Timmy Mellow, monsters must have good dental. Yeah, I think so. That one definitely did. Beowulf does badass native. Hold on a second. I'm trying to click on it. There we go. Characters like the black and white panel with the feathers in the hair. Yes. Awesome. Yeah, I love that stuff too. That's why my favorite N.C. Wyeth book of illustrations is The Last of the Mohicans. Just a beautiful book. But look at that. Isn't that glorious? See if I can get a decent angle on it. But look at that. Just got here. Is this Bisley? Yes, indeed. Nick Clark art. My God, that was a tongue twister for me. Yes, it is Nick Clark art. It is Bisley Slain, and this is an older edition of it. I had this terrible tendency when I was teaching, but again, I'm sure it's why you guys. It's part of my charm, where it was all I could do when I would have a student who I knew didn't have a lot of money, and they saw a book and they were, I love this book, to give it away to them, which is not great for financially for the family, but it just, my wife does it too sometimes, so it is what it is, as we say. And so I had a student, and I really was convinced if he pushed his work, he could really do some cool stuff with it, and he liked Slain, so I gave him the last copy of Slain I had. And so I recently got this one, because the colors in this are so fantastic. Like, look at those rich blues, and I mean, this is outstanding color. Look at that. My God. Hey, Jimmy Nos, what did you teach? I taught illustration for 18 years, almost 20 years, at the college level in several illustration departments. So I was a senior critic at Rhode Island School of Design for 15 years. I mean, I rose to that level, teaching character design. A lot of character designs from stuff came through my classroom. And then I was an associate and assistant professor at another college up in Beverly, Mass. Called Montserrat College of Art. So did a lot of, and then of course like lectures at places like Microsoft Games, Hasbro, Turbine Games when they were doing the Lord of the Rings MMORPG, and then they became Warner Brothers Games. Yeah, like lots of different stuff. MIT's Gambit Game Studio. Like, just tons of wild stuff. Yeah, I taught for a long time. That was my career. You were a teacher at... Oh my gosh, my glasses just fell. You were a teacher at my university. We sometimes look for guests for our extracurricular art, culture, and law classes. It would be an honor to have you on. Yeah, I might be willing to be on there. Let me know. But I'm rough. Wow, you're wicked smart. There you go. Now, that's a good reference. That I appreciate. Oh my gosh. But yeah, like, look at what he's doing with the paint here. Like, that is just pure painting. You can really feel Richard Corbin's, and of course the heavy metal artists. Mobius, I would say, is one of them, but I think it's, how do you pronounce it? The artist who founded heavy metal with Mobius. It was, Philippe Drouillet? I think it's D-R-U... Shoot, what was his name? The guy who worked on heavy metal with Mobius. Dang. I think it's Philippe is his first name. His stuff had this just explosive nature to it. It was just dynamite stuff. And I think his influence can be felt here as well. And of course, Richard Corbin's multimedia approach is very much in Bisley. But look at this shot. You're not going to get more direct than this as a shot. Sean God, that would be an experience. Talk girls volleyball, the real coach of CG, bump set Spike. Yes, indeed. Oh my lord, bless your hearts. It was just fun looking at this. Yes, absolutely. It's just fun looking at this. I love that. Don't you think comics should be fun too? They should be cool and they should be fun. I always think about that when I'm working on Nosfero. Thank you, Drulier. Am I pronouncing it horribly wrong, Bearwolf? Let me know. And hail Skunk Artworks. What's up, Skunk? Speaking of painters, how are you doing, my friend? It's great to see you. I loved the piece that you did. Gosh, what was that piece you did? Was it for the Lucent? If I'm not mistaken, I have a piece of yours in my head. I'm trying to think of what painting it was. Shoot. I can see it in my head. I think it's yours. Tell me if you did a Lucent piece I recall. Skunk Artworks. Apologies. I have it in my head, but I can't. What a great... I mean, this is like an art style that we're dying to see. Do a Beowulf, for God's sake. I mean, he may have done a Beowulf for all I know, but look at the way he approaches the fish, the water. My God, it's just great stuff. Let's see. One T, 2 L's. My bad. Don't worry. Again, in the world of dyslexia, you are safe with any misspellings. Jerry Bird saying, hail Skunk. Also, the timing on that previous page was chef's kiss. Very cinematic. Amen. Amen. Mobius co-created Heavy Metal. Yes, he did. Yeah, he was a giant. I did a print for the Lucent. That's what it was. Beautiful stuff. I know you've done a ton more, and I think you're doing some really great painted stuff, but that just sprung to mind for some reason. And of course, you're a fellow Monster fan, so, I can't say it much fairer than that. Traditional media. Really, I thought it was just a coincidence, or that when he was hired there. No, man. Him and Philippe and one other person whose name is escaping me right now were the founders of Heavy Metal, and it started much like Comicsgate or anything else. It was an indie anthology, and anthologies are hard to sell. You've got to bring it. You've got to kick it into overdrive. I mean, God bless Simon, but this is a exhausting amount of work. I mean, I've painted... Nosfero is 33 pages, and let me tell you, those pages are in my file over there, and it is nuts. It is the amount of work that goes into doing a painted comic book, which I will be doing for the sequel, Nosfero Death Will Die, and even Springball is a ton of work to do all this stuff. But, I mean, my God, look at this stuff. Look at these warriors. Look at how awesome. Look at the freaking pink flamingos. Those are pink flamingos, people. Sweet baby Jesus. Nick Clark art. Yes, indeed. So you guys are getting the names for it. It reminds me of the Sumerian bande dessinées. Okay. Where do I have those? I know they're here somewhere. It's going to drive me crazy. Were they next to me this whole time? No. Ugh. I have the English edition of those where I can find it. Where the heck did I put my other editions of those? Dang it. It's not there. Is it here? I know I have those. The reason why that got me thinking was, where are they? Where are they? Where are they? This is going to really, really annoy me if I can't find these. I have somewhere... One more look. Hang on a second. When my wife sees the state of the studio, she's going to be angry. And I'm going to tell you, gotta go, take care of Cranberry Landers. A pleasure having you and seeing you in the chat, channel member and brother. So, this book right here needs the groomsmen to come organize again. Mrs. Angetti organized my office just yesterday, and I just made a mess. Oh, bless us. Merry Christmas to you, and may God bless you, Cranberry Landers. Truly. So, because we were just talking about Conan, I got this. I think I got it either on Amazon France or Stuart Ing's thing. It's an oversized, just the pencils of this particular edition. And look, my goodness. Hold on a second. Sorry for that brief bit of camera rotation there. Look at this stuff. Isn't this beautiful? Isn't that something else? Beautiful paper stock too. It's not glossy. It's that perfect kind for it, but it's uncoated. So it's perfect for showcasing pencil work and art in general. I also have the French edition because it's printed bigger of the bande dessinée, but I'm not sure where the heck it is at this particular point. I have the very small English edition of it over there, but I wanted to make sure I showed you guys this in case you hadn't seen it. Awesome one. It's great to see you. Merry Christmas to you, brother. I hope you are well. But, I mean, do you guys see what I mean? Check this out. Just incredible drawing. And I love bande dessinée. If there's one thing about it that I prefer as far as American comics and some of the British stuff is the panel layouts are fairly conservative. But again, it's like you know what you're getting when you get bande dessinée. The drawing is always first rate. It's quite beautiful. And you get a really clear sense of staging and mise-en-scène when you see bande dessinée stuff. It's just, you know, you're seeing Conan here in the background. This guy actually cut his teeth, I think, at the Disney studio that used to be in Paris when he was younger. Probably working with Paul and Gaetan Brisi, who were there at the time, if I'm not mistaken. But things like this, like backgrounds and perspective. I mean, oh, sorry, it was out of frame. Look at this. When people say to me, what do you want to see more of in American comics and comics in general? I'm always like, more backgrounds, please. Like, just in terms of setting up staging. If it's one place, and I don't mean more backgrounds in terms of rendering, I mean more backgrounds in terms of readable space. Look at how small the figures are in this frame. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that absolutely crazy? I mean, that is just so cool, you know, and I wouldn't, you know, a close-up, a really good close-up would not go amiss, but there's something to be said for just, you know, the readability of it. Again, I think you need a little bit more. I'm not critiquing this at all, but I like a little bit of dynamics. But look at this, this figure up here, up in the rafters, and she's looking down on this scene, and there's some just beautiful, provides a great sense of grandeur. Very well said. Very well said. Yeah. Agreed. My goodness, look at this. Very, you know, Mayan, and of course with the head split there, that's very, to me, that reminds me so much of Jeff Darrow's Shaolin Cowboy. And he's also, even though he's an American, he's very much in the bande dessinée space. But yes, this was a particularly beautiful story in the Conan bande dessinée series they were doing. And so when I found out they made a pencil version of it, I thought it was great. And what cracked me up is it had a female figure sacrificed on an altar, which is something I was doing in Nosfero at the same time. And I just thought, my God, this is so funny. Like, this is classic. That's always going to happen on some level in my comics, but it was just classic. And of course, in this book, the nudity is somewhat obscured by, like, you know, smoke and that kind of thing, but you can sort of see what you're getting into. And I was just cracking up when I saw this, because I'm basically doing the same thing at the end of Nosfero with maybe a little less smoke. But I wanted to make a comic book that had some power to it, some energy, and was going places that we don't typically go in American comics, let alone fully painted comics that aren't put out by a big major publisher. And so when people say, what is Nosfero? Nosfero is a crowd-funded, fully painted gothic pulp adventure story that was founded and born here in Comicsgate. And Springball is going to be the great thing about Springball is Springball is a character I created in 2002 and a story I created in 2002 that my brother for many years, of over 30 years now, who works in animation, Rocky, some of you guys may be subscribed to his channel, showed on stream. He's always been a big booster of Springball. And then it found its way in front of John Malin. I was just saying, hey, I have so much appreciation for Comicsgate, because I remember when I launched my first independent book in 2002, Springball, and he was like, what is this? You need to do something with this. And that's sort of how we got here. And so Springball, in my opinion, is the kind of balls to the walls, straight ahead superhero character that we haven't had a new one of in comics in a very long time. So much like with Nosfero, I like everything that I'm doing right now. I love everything I'm doing right now in terms of it's the proudest I've ever been of everything, because good, bad, or different, it's purely me putting out there the best I can possibly do for you guys. But in the case of Springball, I would not miss this campaign. I would not get to the point where this campaign at some point in the future when it closes going, oh, I thought I backed that. Don't let it happen. Make sure that you get yourself back in Springball. And I don't know if I'm going to be on Indiegogo in the future, just because the interface has gotten so confusing. I mean, we can figure it out, but it's a real pain. So I may be going to Fund My Comic, which is I've talked about doing already for a while. I did a lot of the logo stuff for Fund My Comic back in the day. So it's been something I've been considering for a bit. But Indiegogo may have just given me a little bit of a push there. So we'll see. I have no idea what the future holds. God knows. But this is the kind of thing when we're flipping through things like Slain, and we're flipping through, fully painted illustrated books, and people are saying, so, blah, blah, where's this stuff being done? It's being done here. It's being done in Comicsgate. It's not just something that the mainstream does. It's not something that's beyond us. If you guys can fund it, if you guys can make this stuff happen, I can make the artwork happen. And I think that I'm very proud of this book, and I'm very proud to have been supported by all of you guys, and that Comicsgate made this possible. It's a beautiful story. And if you buy this book for nothing else, my wife's introduction in this book is worth the price of admission. But look at what we're doing here, guys. This is beautiful stuff. Beowulf, I heard, my glasses just fell again. Beowulf, I heard that Harry Nord came back to Conan. Woo, on one of their books. Very nice, man. Yep, you guys know. Mark knows. We have a diaphanous. We need a diaphanous. Yeah, check out my brother Rocky's channel. Known him for 30 years. It had been so. There's also a stream where Rocky comes on here. He came out to visit me. I hadn't seen him in 14 years, or 14 or 15 years. And I know this because his daughter, who is 14, I met for the first time. And it was so cool. So we went out and we took our daughters out to lunch together. And that's the joy of life. That's what we're doing here, guys. You guys know who are channel members, longtime channel members and supporters and backers and all the amazing things you guys are. We're making cool artwork. We're having great conversations. And I think it's something that really is fuel for the spirit. Books and art, that's what it's about. I never know where these streams are going to go here at Comics and Curios inside the studio. But I'm really glad you guys are here because it drives the conversation. Yes, indeed. Real brothers. And you know him well because you've been on his channel now for a long time. Rocky is the person, one of the people that I really says it best. It's like he's known me a year or two longer than my wife has known me, believe it or not. That's how far back we go. And Rocky, I say the same thing about Rocky he says about me. When you watch his streams and you watch my streams, what you see is what you get. Like, this is what I'm really like. That's what he's really like. One of my favorite things ever was I was visiting my wife's job, and they were seeing how we were interacting, and they go, is he always like this? Is he always so enthusiastic and positive about things? And my wife, just without missing a beat, just turned over and goes, yeah, he's always like this. What you see is what you get. And Rock is that way, and it's been great. We met when we were, 18 years old. He saw me coming up from the mailroom with my first professional job, and he read the address and said, you're that guy from Chattanooga who draws comics. Craziness. Ocean View Refugee. Springball is... Oh, Jesus. Thank you, Ocean View. Springball is the best original character look I've seen in a long time, besides Delays... besides Delays... I got it. Delays Cecil. Springball got the look. Bravo. Oh, my gosh. I appreciate that. Jeez, I thought I was going to get ribbed. I didn't know I was walking into a compliment. That's like a party foul around here, but bless your heart. Thank you. I appreciate it. Such a chill dude. Great guy. Yeah. Yeah, when my kids were newborns, I had we had twins, and I hadn't slept in forever. My wife had some health things come up, or with her thyroid and other stuff, and I was when you're not, dude. That was actually said by one of my wife's students who thought everything was black and white. I'm not even kidding, and we were just cracking up about that. But I called up my brothers Rocky and Arvin, who've been my comic book brothers since college. And they said, well, I said, I need to come out there. I need you guys to just let me sleep and feed me. I've been on midnight bottle detail with twins, and I need you guys to take care of me. And they said, all right, come on out here, buddy. We'll feed you. We'll let you get some sleep, and we'll take you around. And they were like, do you want to go visit ILM or Skywalker Ranch? Because, we know they know people everywhere. We all know people everywhere now, but they knew people at Skywalker, and I went out there, got some rest, got a tour of Skywalker Ranch, got to back when George Lucas owned it. It was awesome, and it was such a great trip, and I'll always be grateful to those guys for taking care of me. And yeah, brothers are brothers, and we work hard, and that's what it is. And I'm grateful to all of you guys being here because, almost tree fitty backers, absolutely right. Bearwolf, God bless you, and thank you so much. Now you guys are getting me on a Sunday. So this past September, you turned 49. 49. And I will tell you the same thing I say to my wife all the time. I never thought I'd be alive this long. I am so fortunate. So, yeah, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure being here with you guys. All right, gang. I updated the channel member credits. It's going to have all the names. I don't know what's going on with YouTube right now, but... stick around for those guys. From the heart of Lovecraft country and the birthplace of American religious liberty, my name is Jonathan Jetty. You've been watching Jonathan Jetty Art. This has been Comics and Curios inside the studio. Go back, Springball. Go back, whatever else is going on out there. There's a lot of cool stuff. I will probably be on Comicsgate Kings tomorrow night. So on Ethan's channel, Comic Artist Pro Secrets. So make sure you check it out. I am so grateful to all of you for being here. And thank you. Comic books in cahoots. Oh my gosh, it just jumped when I was trying to click. I'll be 50 in January. Excellent, my friend. I can't wait to see you there. Knock on wood. I'll see you there soon in September. Later, take care. Peace indeed. Hang on, brother. I will be 57 Wednesday. Oh, nice. Holy cow. If you catch me on stream, let me know so I can wish you a happy birthday. Have a Merry Christmas all if I don't get to see you. Indeed, great stream. And be safe, guys. Indeed, Timmy Mello. Yes, hail and be safe. Comicsgate says Bearwolf. Infamous Mr. Cursed. Indeed. 100%. Have a great week. Thank you, Boombots444. Pleasure, and thank you for being here. I will see all of you guys very, very soon. And if you are a channel member, you're about to see your name in the credits. Thank you so, so much for your support, guys. Oh, gosh. Well, let me check one more time. Compulsive, Ocean View Refugee. Compulsive Gamblers is not what CG stands for. Thanks, Sean. Yeah, well, we might get there. It depends, Later all says Mark's Music Obsession. There you go. Take care, guys. I will see you guys very, very soon.